Welcome to the San Clemente Podcast, the only local podcast in the best beach town in the world. We're here to bring you weekly episodes highlighting everything from sports, culture, entertainment, politics, and everything else this beach town has to offer. Welcome back to the San Clemente Podcast. I'm your host, Jeff Moore. My co-host, Brian De La Puente, and I are very excited to be here shooting another podcast. We've got an exciting guest on the show today. A San Clemente alumni, graduated in 1996, proceeded to go to UCLA, where his volleyball career kind of was taken to another level. So Brandon Taliaferro, thank you so much for coming on.
Thanks, guys. Thanks for having me. This is exciting to have a podcast like we were just talking about here in San Clemente. Like we're putting our little beach town on the map here.
Totally. Hyper local. We've got so many great guests and great people living in our community. So very, very stoked to have you on.
Yeah, thank you. Thank
you.
you.
This kind of all came together. We're inducting you into the San Clemente Sports Wall of Fame this year, which for those of you that don't know, it's up at the Vista Hermosa Sports Park at the pool. Tiles of all of our great athletes highlighting careers and just after diving into your bio and stuff. I know for me personally, when we moved into town, volleyball and Brandon Taliaferro were synonymous. We've talked briefly outside, like that's what we just want to dive into, kind of starting off. How did you get into volleyball? Like what sparked it? And kind of just kick us off at San Clemente.
Yeah. Played all sports growing up, did everything. Loved sports. My dad got me into beach volleyball. Probably I was 12 or 13. And found that it was really a fun thing to do during the summer. And I started to grow, and that helped quite a bit. My surfing game kind of went down as my growth went up.
Sure.
And just started to have a little bit of success, got into it. I also played hoops in high school. And all of a sudden, I was having a lot more fun playing beach volleyball during the summer than going and running sprints at San Clemente High School. So my junior year, I decided I'm all in on volleyball. I stopped playing basketball.
Yep.
And that was kind of where I really started to get serious with volleyball and really kind of, okay, I'm going to play club. I'm going to play all year round. I'm going to try to do youth and junior national teams. And then I eventually want to definitely go to college and play in college.
What was the club scene like then? Now there's, multiple clubs within San Clemente. Was it?
Yeah. So there was a small club, I think Laguna Niguel Volleyball up by Capo.
Okay.
And that's where I kind of got started.
Yeah.
And then somebody recommended to my parents, hey, if he's serious, should probably go up to Newport to Balboa Bay Volleyball Club. And went up there, I think as a freshman, and started playing there. So and just got exposed to it.
And you were going all the way up to Newport.
I was driving. My mom and my brothers and sisters were all in the van driving up to practice at Corona Del Mar High School on Sunday afternoons. And just got into it. And, like I said, it was just baby steps, getting a little bit better, meeting different people, like seeing what the levels were, like, oh, that guy's really good. I want to be like him. What do I have to do? And just kind of starting to put in the work. And it was a lot of fun. It was just so much fun.
That's awesome. Brian, let's talk a little bit about the Sports Wall of Fame and how it was all put together and how you guys came across Brandon and a little background on that.
For sure. So the Sports Wall of Fame, when the city built this pool up there, we thought it would be a great idea to highlight some of the just amazing athletes from town. We have Olympians, pro surfers, NFL guys. It's just a hotbed for athletic talent. It's really kind of unique in the state. So every year we have a binder, and there's a nomination process. You have to have went to San Clemente High School or grown up in town and lived in town while you were playing kind of throughout your career. And then there's a kind of a time where we like to see kind of what you're doing after you're done playing. For example, Sam Darnold, if we had inducted him a couple years ago, and he won a Super Bowl last year. That's something we would like to include in the tile. So it's kind of post-career people, and it's all nominations based through the city, through our website, Friends of San Clemente, and it's wild. So Brandon I have been kind of advocating for him for the last, he's been on for the last couple of years, and this year was the year, and we're super fired up and just diving into his story. It's super impressive. I mean, his accolades at UCLA, coaching at UCLA, now with the national team. It's super. I'm excited to get into all of it because it's super complex, learning a lot that we didn't know. But
that's incredible. Yeah. Just for anyone watching, if they want to attend or go,
it's May 16th this year. Yeah. May 16th up at the pool. Free. Everyone's welcome to come and support, and it's a cool deal.
And they do a full ceremony. And
full ceremony, tiles and veiling, and
that's awesome.
The whole thing. It's cool.
Congratulations, Brandon. That's huge.
Thank you. So I got the text from Brian. I was like, oh, whoa, yeah, very cool. and yeah, I've been up there. Obviously my kids, went and swam there, swimming lessons and stuff. So I, check it out and saw, some of the people that I looked up to, that I played sports with, growing up through town, and so it's a pretty amazing honor. So thank you so much to everybody that threw me on the bandwagon and pushed for me. Appreciate it.
So let's go back to Plan San Clemente. Cool, nice little plug for the wall. But so the landscape, you start to gain some traction. Was it always UCLA? Why UCLA? What made that choice? What was that process like?
So it was, that's such a great question because it's so nuanced. As a 16, 17-year-old, growing up in San Clemente, anything kind of east of the 5 or north of Mission Viejo is kind of a whole nother world.
Sure.
And starting that recruiting process in my junior year, SC was pretty involved. I was looking at Stanford. And what really kind of drew me to UCLA was just the academic and athletic success that they had across the board, and especially in volleyball. And I really, in my senior year, I played on some good club teams that started to win. And at San Clemente, we lost in the finals of 95, and I was just starting to, it's a drug. Winning is a drug. It's an addiction. You want to be a part of it. So when the opportunity came to go to UCLA, they had just won in 95 and 96. Al Skates was the coach. He had won, 16 titles at that time. If you wanted to win or have the chance to win, that was the best opportunity. So, and I wanted to see how good I was. I wanted to go to the best school with the best program, and can I cut it? And so it was a huge just challenge that I really kind of growing up here in town and playing beach volleyball on the beach and just getting kind of, you're the little runt, like go down to the bottom court and work your way up and just grinding and older guys giving me shit and never winning a call because I got out argued. Like that was a part of the culture growing up in volleyball, and I thought San Clemente. And that was the same culture at UCLA. Didn't matter what you did. It didn't matter, what your accolades were. It was you come in the gym and you got to compete every day, day in and day out. And that just really appealed to me. And so I met a couple of guys that were on the team on a university team in 97. And I was just like, these guys carry themselves differently. Like they understand like when they've got to be good and when to focus in practice and how to win drills. Like you could just tell that they just carried themselves a lot, with some cockiness, confidence, however you want to describe it. Probably a lot of both.
And a little bit of an ego. You have to have that though.
Without a doubt. And so that was really kind of pulling me to UCLA. So it worked out with, the setter that was there before me. He graduated right before I came in. Like there was going to be a spot opening my position as a setter. So it's kind of everything was lining up. Like this might be a good opportunity for me.
Right.
So, and of course it's local. My parents could come up and watch games. My brothers and sisters could come up and watch games. I could come down, possibly for the weekend. So it just,
was all lined up.
It all lined up and became a pretty easy decision.
And did you hit the ground running? Like you get there, what's the process to becoming, 4-time All-American? Like what were you contributing immediately?
So, gosh, you walk in the gym there, and this is where UCLA men's basketball used to practice in the Wooden Center, or in now it's called SAC. But there's so much history, and there's this blue curtain, and there's 40 guys in there. And I'm, as a freshman, there's probably 9 other freshmen. There's like 10 of us. We're mopping the floors. We're putting up the nets. I have no idea what I'm doing. And it's grinding. So by the end of the fall, I was like, okay, I'm on the right court. I'm on the top court. I'm hanging with the guys. I think I'm doing okay. But I'm also a freshman.
Sure.
I'm trying to figure out frats and social scene and going to class. And so your mind is just going a million miles an hour. And lo and behold, the season starts and I'm starting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How do you manage a schedule like that?
Still trying to figure it out. Fortunately at UCLA, they've got a lot of support, academic support. You got tutors and you got guidance counselors that are kind of talking you through it. But yeah, it's a grind. Being a student athlete is a full-time job. It is, you're probably 4 to 6 hours a day of sports, whether it's lifting, prep, practice, video, and then you got class and you're managing class. And obviously as a freshman, you're trying to, you're just meeting people everywhere.
Yeah.
And fortunately I had my roommate at the time. It was another San Clemente local, Andy Bailey, who was playing water polo. And he helped guide me and keep me on track. He was redshirting. We took the same classes usually.
That's nice.
And so he was keeping me.
Andy'd be another good one to come on here.
He'd be excellent.
He's excellent. Yeah.
What a great metaphor for life, though. You knew you were in the right room at UCLA, right? Like you had to put yourself in a position to where you were surrounded by other like-minded killer athletes that ultimately wanted the same goal. They wanted to win and compete at a level that, is just a next level.
So what's the what's the numbers look like? Like on a college volleyball team, are there freshman team how's the structured lineup? Is there
So it's way different now. But at that time there was no roster caps.
Okay.
So the volleyball team at UCLA, was probably between 30 and 40 guys.
Oh, okay.
And there was probably 12 to 16 that were on the first court.
Gotcha.
And then there was a whole blue curtain, which is infamous, of guys on the other that are just grinding, trying to get onto the first court.
Would coaches be paying attention to that other side?
No, the head coach. This was always the you're scared when you didn't make a play or maybe you didn't, go all out. All of a sudden you'd see the coach get off of his chair, walk over to the blue curtain to look behind the blue curtain, and he'd yell at either somebody's name or maybe he didn't even know a name. He'd just go, "Give me a setter."
Oh shoot.
And practice would stop and somebody would just come sprinting from the other side. And all of a sudden, if he looked at you, you're like, oh no. And you got sent to the other side.
Oh, that's the worst feeling ever.
So that was just so motivating that there was just all these guys that were clamoring to get onto the first court. That once you got there, you had to stay.
Yeah.
And
the microscope too, though, on that first court.
Yeah.
You're always, but you know what? That's that competition. The competition breeds that, right?
Yep.
And it creates that resilience. So when you do get into the finals and winning the opportunity to win a national championship, we've been doing this every day, right?
Practices were usually more cutthroat, more competitive than probably 90% of our matches.
So did that stress level maintain throughout your career? Was it the same blue curtain every year? And did it get less?
Yeah, for me, it got less stressful kind of going into my freshman year, when I was like, okay. And that just, I guess that's just part of the ego that comes in. Sure. I am a 19-year-old. I'm at UCLA. I am the shit, man. Yeah. I am fucking good.
Bring it.
Nobody's fucking telling me otherwise. Yeah.
It's like killer mentality.
And I got real humbled when we lost in the finals my freshman year. But that was the mentality. And some people didn't like it. And some people, they kind of crumbled. But going back to being from San Clemente, and that was kind of, I thought the culture of just kind of being blue collar and, you know, the way that my parents kind of raised me, like that was, to me, that was really fun.
Yeah.
I thoroughly enjoyed it. I love the competition every day.
I'm sure some guys just buckle, just crumble under the pressure.
You know, they get pulled up and they're there for a day and then you never see them again. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Just not built for that.
Was there turnover on that other court? Like, was there?
Yeah, I think a lot of guys just eventually after a year or two, just, I'm never going to play. I'm out, you know, I'll go do something else for sure. Yeah.
Did you have, being at UCLA, did you have a lot of crossover with other sports? Because I mean, UCLA has a high standard, right? Like that's part of the why you go there.
Yep.
Whether it's football, basketball, volleyball, soccer, it doesn't matter. They're always competing for it on the national stage in all sports, men and women. Yeah. Did you have any non-volleyball like mentorship or friends or buddies that were?
So I lived with the water polo guys, you know, Andy Bailey and those guys. I mean, they were constantly in the finals or winning.
Yeah.
You know, we had won the title in 95 for basketball. You know, in 98, that was Cade McNown and Danny Farmer. Like they were 11-0 or 10-0 going for a national championship and got upset by Miami.
Yeah.
You know, all the sports, you would be in the locker room, you'd see other athletes. You know, there was Carrie Strug, who just won, I think in 96, a gold medal as a gymnastics.
Yep.
She was in there. Every sport had somebody that was the best of the best. And that was, I mean, yeah, it was inspiring. It was humbling. You know, you were always kind of interested. You know, for us, like the training room was where everybody kind of came together.
Right.
You know, and so you get to meet people. Obviously, you know, you're kind of picking their brain about what they're doing. You know, I'm watching football guys like in ice baths, and I'm like, what's up with this ice bath thing?
Yeah.
Is everybody doing that? And all of a sudden, you know, oh, okay, I'll try it. You know, and a guy walks by who's a lot bigger than me and like, what are you doing? This isn't cold. This is like 40 degrees. No. Let's put some more ice in here. You know, and you're not going to tell the offensive lineman, Jonathan Ogden, to like, oh no, that's too cold.
Yeah.
You know, and I mean, so post sports or, you know, our season, everybody played in this IM basketball league, and it was kind of a thing.
Yeah.
And, you know, playing with some of the football, volleyball, basketball, some baseball guys, like you're like, whoa, these guys are some athletes. Yeah. Like, you know, and that was just so fun.
I can only imagine. Those athletes are like,
oh, there was a strong safety. His name was, I think, Atkinson, you know, who went on and played in the NFL for a couple of years. We're playing an IM basketball game in Poly, and there's like 4 courts and everybody's playing, and he just gets a breakaway and breaks and takes and dunks the ball from the free throw line. You're like, I know this guy Michael Jordan does this, but like, you're just like, it's next level. Yeah. It's next level.
That's so cool to be.
So that was the environment.
Success,
amazing.
Yeah, success breeds success, and to be around that is incredible.
Yeah,
just like a certain level of accountability to the school, which we didn't really. I mean, at Cal was separated, so like Cal's campus is kind of hill, so football was up top, and then a lot of the water polo, volleyball, basketball were down the hill, soccer. So we didn't have that much crossover with a lot of the different sports, but I love the idea of the other sports pushing each other.
That's so awesome.
Like with the kind of the intent of like putting out for our school, like that school pride. That's rad.
Yeah.
That's
and,
cool.
You know, every chance we got, we try to go to, you know, everybody else's game and support them. And
it's cool.
They do the same for us. So definitely a community feel amongst athletes, you know, at UCLA, in my opinion.
What kind of discipline, like during those 4 years you're playing volleyball, like what does a day in the life of Brandon look like? Or for any of those athletes, how much discipline is required? And what does a day look like?
Yeah, I mean, it all kind of centers first and foremost on when practice is or what the competition schedule is. And then everything kind of falls into place from there, you know, like, class. And then, you know, as an athlete, food and eating is it's very important and it's fantastic. So, and then the other big one is just sleep, you know, trying to manage and get enough sleep. So, class was in the morning, you know, and as a freshman, my fall quarter, at 8 a.m. psychology, Psych 10. Like, oh, this was a tough one. Monday, Wednesday, Friday. That was tough. So after that, like, no classes before 10.
Yeah, no 8 a.m. class.
10 to 1 was class practice. 3 to 6, weights Monday, Wednesday, Friday, or 2 to 3. And then usually some video afterwards. And then, writing papers and homework.
Yeah.
Until the evening. Yeah. So it's a long day. It's pretty fun.
It's awesome.
Yeah. So your time at UCLA, 2 national championships, all century team, all 4-time All-American, super successful college career. Once that's done, what is next? What is the volleyball equivalent to getting, like, did you go overseas? What was?
Yeah. So I went straight from, in 2000, I graduated and finished playing in 2000. The 2000 Olympics were going on. I was an alternate for the 2000 team.
Okay.
That following year, I went back to finish up school in the fall, and then went back to the national team in the spring of 2001. And so I was playing on the national team and trying to go to the 04 Olympics.
Okay.
Went overseas and got to play in Vienna for 2 seasons. And then, in 2000 at UCLA, I started to have a lot of back problems, and that was kind of continuing through. And so finally in 2003, I was married, and I was just, it's time to give it up.
Sure.
It's time to move on.
Yeah.
And stopped playing volleyball. And had my daughter, Mia, and living in Manhattan Beach. And that's when I bought A to Z Leak Detection and started working. And I was actually commuting from Manhattan Beach to San Clemente a couple days a week. 'Cause the office and the business was kind of centralized down here. Mm-hmm. And then moved back to San Clemente. Moved back to San Clemente in 2009. So yeah, in 2006, the national team moves back to Anaheim
From
Colorado Springs.
Okay.
And so I was kind of intrigued. And
so prior to that, training with the national team, you're in Colorado Springs.
In Colorado Springs.
Living there
during the summer. And nobody was really excited about that. Right. So from 2000, the Olympic team did okay. 2004, I think they got 5th. It just wasn't a great time for the national team. That was kind of the down years. And because of probably being in Colorado Springs.
Who's steering those decisions? Is that like, is it like that we kind of talk about the Olympics coming to town and each sport having a governing body. Are those decisions from USA Volleyball?
I think.
Is that the governing body?
That is for USA Volleyball, yes.
So are they making decisions that
I believe so. I'm sure the head coach probably has some say in that.
Gotcha.
With regards to like where they go in this instance in like Colorado Springs. So you said that wasn't a great area. Like what, people just didn't want to live there, or it wasn't a hotbed for athletes, or
90% of the athletes that are playing for USA Volleyball are from Southern California.
Got it.
So
be here.
Yeah. You want to be here.
Where you want to be. Yeah,
you want
absolutely.
It's the hub. You got all the beach volleyball happening out here. And
yeah. So in 06, they moved back, and all of a sudden there's momentum, there's infusion of probably some more talent, there's excitement.
And they're gearing up for the 08 Olympics at that
Olympics.
point. Okay.
Yeah. Uh-huh. So I come back and try to, I haven't played in 3 years. I got 2 kids, I'm running a business. Sure, why not? Let's do it.
What was that? Back, like what's your body telling you?
My body is telling me you got to manage your time on the court, and you've got to know what works for you and what doesn't.
Gotcha.
And fortunately, the new coach knew my history and wasn't just, hey, it's my way or the highway kind of a thing. Like, let's work with you to see what you can do, with the most important thing focusing on is you being on the court, not how much you can lift or deadlift or how fast you can run sprints or how many stairs you can run. And so that change in mentality made it possible for me to do that.
Gotcha.
And so, yeah, I stopped kind of all deadlifts, did more body weight exercises, more plyo, got into yoga. I went to what's called the Agascu Clinic with just an alignment of my back and my hips and trying to make sure that my body is straight. And that started to help. So I was doing a bunch of different things just to make sure that I was on the court. And it was not only the body, but the game is starting to evolve. The tempos, the setting is faster. The guys are bigger, stronger, and so it's catch up.
Yeah.
It was a big change, and in hindsight, it was the best thing that I ever did because I struggled, and it was the hardest thing I ever did. Like, can I do this? I'm not very good, and for the first time in volleyball on the court, like I was having some self-doubt.
Right.
Just wow. Like, I'm not performing. Everybody expects me to perform. I expect myself to perform, but the execution is not there what it needs to be. And so, you start kind of going through that process, it's where the head gets involved, and you're like, wow, he's better. I'm not doing blah, blah, blah. And so going through that for the first time in my life was a huge just learning experience about myself. And so ended up making the kind of the travel team in 2007, and got some starting time and was good but wasn't great, and the team was really ascending, and it was amazing to watch. And so I ended up being an alternate. I was the third guy for the setting position. They went on and won a gold medal, and it was just I was so comfortable in myself at that time, and that part of my life, I had 2 kids, I had a business. I was just, I'm happy with what I did.
Sure.
Coming back and what I accomplished. I mean, of course I would have loved to, been on the podium,
right.
But it was a big, just, all right, I'm more than just a volleyball player. Right. Like, I went through the struggle, I survived it. And, it was just, I walked away going, I did everything I could. And I'm so happy with my career, and I got a long life to live, and it was great.
It's one of the reasons I love sports so much, though. The self-doubt that you go through, and that you have to overcome, it's going to help you along the way in life.
That's a hard pill to swallow, man.
It's not good when you're going through it. I had a lot of conversations with my wife of like,
but it never ends. I don't care how old you are. If it's a new business you're going down, or a new venture, or whatever it is, you always have that self-doubt that you have to work through.
Well, now it's, I've got that confidence of going through it.
Exactly.
Like, I can do anything else, and go through that pain and struggle. And because I hadn't really had that too much before. I came in UCLA, I was kind of the guy. We won 2 titles. Like, I was feeling pretty good.
Right.
Yeah. And then, but that's the great thing about sports, you're probably alluding to, is that it'll humble you real fast.
Always. Everyone gets humbled at some point.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
How important was your relationship with your wife at the time? Like, was she helping you? Was she?
Yeah. So she was a former athlete. She played volleyball at Stanford, a lot smarter than me. She was just supporting, like, whatever you want to do. Okay. I think you can do this. You can do this. Just keep going. Just get through tomorrow. Go back there, do what you do. Don't worry about it. Stop beating yourself up over, a little play or a loss or whatever, basic stuff that you need to be, here again and be reinforced, because all of a sudden athletes, their mind goes one way and goes the wrong way. It can go pretty fast. So
seeing that,
she was amazing.
Seeing that was a freaking 10-year-old.
Sure. No, but I bring it up, Brian, because we talked to Sam about it too. Just having the right people in your corner.
Yeah.
I mean, you can probably speak better to it than anyone else too.
Yeah. Well, it's like national stage, right? We're dealing with, like, my son struck out twice the other day, and he was like, tears, I suck, all this like the negative talk. And you're like, how am I going to approach this? On one hand, you're like, you want to be like, listen, suck it up, dude. Baseball, you strike out a lot. If you let this strikeout affect tomorrow, like your wife was telling you, hey, deal with little things. And so part of me wants to be hard, but then the other part of me is like, striking out does suck, buddy. Like, what are we going to do about it? How can we get better? Let's go hit off the tee. Let's whatever. And that's what's so great, is it doesn't matter if you're at the top level or a 10-year-old playing Little League baseball. It's the same self-doubt, and it's the same lessons, but amplified emotion. you know, like, it's trip, and it's great to hear. And it doesn't matter what sport it is. It happens in all sports. That self-doubt creeps in,
and any athlete who says, no, I never had it, they're full of shit.
Absolutely.
Everybody's had it.
How do you work through it? What are some tips and tricks on, you know, positive affirmations? Like, cause it is a battle. Like, what do you do? Like,
you gotta start to manage the inner critic.
Yeah.
We've all got it. And whatever we're doing of, oh, you can't do this. You shouldn't do this. Stop doing this, you know, go down the easy path, whatever. You gotta quiet that noise, and you gotta just stay focused on, you know, yes, you need your wife or somebody telling you, yes, you can do it. Yes, you can do this. And that's where you start to, and you know, learn it more now. And I wish I probably knew this back then, just of that, you know, how you manage that inner critic. Okay, hey, I know you're there. Okay, I hear you, but no, you're not dominating this conversation. Okay, I've done this a million times. I know I can do it again. All right, I've got all these other successes that I can kind of fall back on. Yeah, but every athlete has it, and the good ones know how to manage that, and it's all between the ears.
And it may just come down to that. Like, what's the difference between an athlete at that excellent superior level? It probably is what they've got going on in between the ears.
Absolutely.
Mindset.
I mean, everybody is a freak athlete.
Yeah.
At those levels, you know.
Yeah.
So how you are able to quiet the noise, stay in the moment, move on to the next play is, I mean, that's where people get paid big bucks for.
So then now you're in the dad phase, right? Now you have kids. How are you teaching them those lessons? Like, what is your approach? Like, I don't know what I'm doing. I played at a high level, and every day I have a little bit of a different philosophy or mindset towards it. And it's constantly evolving. And I think that's part of the process. But like, what was your kids are successful? What was the
So I heard something from another coach that there was some study that said that, you know, kids going home from a sporting event would much rather ride with grandma and grandpa than mom and dad. And why is that? Because grandma and grandpa are talking about taking them to get ice cream. Right. Mom and dad's talking to them about
the game. Yep.
And so fortunately I heard that, you know, and so I coached both of my kids, you know, in all sports and volleyball. I never wanted to get in the car and talk to them. And I didn't ever want to come home and, you know, or if I didn't coach them, come home from when they got home from practice. Hey, how was practice? Kind of thing. I always, and I definitely didn't always do this, but that was kind of what I tried to do, is let them ask me questions and then refer it back to, hey, how was hanging out with your buddies? Who was also at practice? And the be all end all is to make sure that they were having fun and they wanted to go back the next day to practice.
Super.
And that was it. I would love to hear what my son and daughter say about this. But that was always kind of the mindset of, you know, I know how hard it is and how much you have to sacrifice. 99% of them don't want to do it,
right? Which
is great. There's nothing wrong with that. I don't care whatever you want to do. I just want you to be happy kids that are respectful and, you know, say hi and please and thank you and look people in the eye. Anything else after that is, you know, the cherry on top.
Well, these kids have such fragile mindsets, and you can tell through coaching youth sports like we do. You can tell the kids that have the parents that get in the car after the game and just hammer in on them, and you feel so bad for them. Yeah. It's heartbreaking to see.
It's got to be fun. I think that's the root of it all.
He nailed it. Brandon absolutely nailed it. Our job as coaches is to make sure they're having fun and they want to come back next year
and they're learning a little bit.
Right? Yeah. And they're learning and getting a little bit better. Yep.
They're having fun with their teammates and they're learning, and it's a fun. They want to come back. That's the key.
Yeah.
So you, after playing days, business, you ran your own business.
Ran my own business. I also started 949 Volleyball Club. I co-founded that. That was in 2009.
Okay.
And me and Trent started playing there. And
Trent's your son.
Trent's my son. Mia's my daughter. And that was an educational experience.
So were you coaching both of them in volleyball?
At various times, yes. Yeah.
And what level did you stop coaching, or did that ever? I mean, I know we've talked. I will get to it, but
so another coach told me, he's like, it's really easy to coach your kid when they're the best or the worst.
yeah, oh man, that's heavy.
Yeah, like you got to think about that.
Yeah.
Like, that is true.
Yeah.
Okay. If everybody knows, all the other parents know that, your kid is a starter and he's a superstar, no problem. Or if he's not good and he's one of the worst guys or the youngest guys on the team and he's not a starter, that makes everything easier. Now, when it gets to be where there's, who's a starter, who's not, who gets playtime, who doesn't, because you're the coaches, pulling your kid in, then it gets tricky.
Yeah.
So, my daughter played a couple of years and then she stopped and she wasn't the best. So that was easy. My son started off and he was the best, and that was easy. At 11, 12, he was the best. All of a sudden at 13, everybody starts growing and he doesn't. And so he's not the best. So I'm like, oh, at the end of the 12s year, I was like, all right, I shouldn't coach him the next year. So 13s, 14s, I didn't coach him.
Okay.
And he was middle of the pack, trying to get play time on his club team. And then all of a sudden, 14s, he starts going through the maturation process and starts growing. And I coached him again 15, 16s, and then stopped coaching 17, 18s. He ended up going to a different club and getting away from daddy ball. And I wanted him to he went up to Newport and played on a top team, and he had to do it on his own. And I think it was a blossoming kind of expanding just moment for him to, okay, I don't need dad around. I can do this on my own.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
And so when he went to that other club, is that when you started coaching at UCLA?
That was when I started coaching UCLA.
Okay.
Yeah. So that was 2022, 23.
22, 23. So you're coaching at UCLA. You guys.
Hold on. Coaching at UCLA women's volleyball, right?
Men's volleyball.
Men's volleyball.
Men's volleyball.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
You go back to back. I'll give it a year. It'll be fun to get back on campus, right?
Yeah.
National championship. Oh, that was fun. Let's do it again.
Fun. Let's do it again.
Do it again.
Do it again and win again.
Now your son's getting recruited.
Yeah.
Talk us through that whole.
So yeah, so the deal was with my son, like, yes, I want you to go to UCLA if you want to go to UCLA. I mean, yes, I think it's great, but is it for you? So he goes through the recruiting process. He ends up deciding and committing to go to UCLA. It's a great moment for the family. We're excited, but I understand that you probably don't want me to be there. So I will get out of the way, and it's your time. I've done it.
Is this a conversation you're actually having with him?
Yeah. This is a family conversation,
And what is it that you think why is it that you don't think that he'll want you there? Is it just the traditional?
Giving him the.
Do any of us want our moms and dads
Yeah.
hanging out with when I'm 19 years old as a freshman in college?
Right.
I didn't.
No.
Right.
Yeah.
No.
So yeah,
but to have a dad that's that cool, that doesn't have the ego of I'm the coach, son, it's rare to find.
Well, so it didn't actually turn out the way that I had that conversation with. So we win back to back. Now he's coming into as a freshman. I'm like, well, Trent, we kind of got a good thing going. I think we can work this out. So you're a freshman. You're not going to be starting. I'll let the other guys kind of coach you, and I'll just
you're gonna be on the other side of the curtain, bro. Don't even worry.
From afar.
Yeah. And he was like, whoa, no. Like, I understand, so there was a lot of conversations, give and take. Mom was definitely highly involved with negotiating this. Other coaches were involved. And so absolutely one of the highlights of my life was to be a fly on the wall and see, your son be a freshman and go from a wide-eyed freshman as a starting, his freshman year to, kind of knowing what was going on by the end of the year. It was just priceless. It was so fun.
I can't even imagine the proud dad moment and just like,
and it wasn't like we talked about, it wasn't about proud about what he did on the court. It was just how he interacted with his teammates, his teammates respecting him, listening to him, giving him a ton of shit for being a freshman, right. All the freshman duties that he had to do, that I had to do, that, I got to watch him, struggle and bitch and complain about. So all those just little things, off the court, the locker room, the bus rides, all those things are just they're priceless that
But
you get to
yeah.
watch.
What a great feeling though to know, right? You must be thinking I raised him right? Like to see him interacting and being able to
Yeah.
manage those situations, that's got to be very, very proud.
Very, very cool. Yes. Very cool to see him thrive, in that environment. Awesome. Yeah.
What a,
Pretty cool.
that's awesome. That's
Yeah.
really, really cool.
So yeah, I got out of the way. Now he's there thriving, and
so we're not at UCLA anymore.
We're not at UCLA.
We're coaching the national team. I just learned national team in non-Olympic years.
Yes.
Olympic team in Olympic years.
Gotcha.
So we're a national team right now. So women's national team.
Women's national team.
Okay.
Yep.
And
So
this is the first season.
We're going into our second season of the quad.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. So you signed up for the quad, meaning the 4 years leading up to the Olympics.
Correct.
So 2024 to 2028.
Yep.
That's the quad year.
That's the quad.
So what is that workload? What's your role? What's that look like?
Yeah. So I'm the offensive coordinator, so to speak.
Okay.
And our season is May through September generally.
Okay.
The women right now are playing either in domestic or international professional leagues, and they'll start finishing those up here pretty soon and start filtering into our training center in Anaheim.
Cool.
And then, we have multiple competitions throughout the summer across the world. We're in a fortunate position because we don't have to qualify.
Okay.
Being the host country.
Gotcha.
And so we've got a little bit more play with trying out new, athletes or younger athletes just to see how they integrate. But
over the course of this season,
over the course of the whole quad.
Oh, gotcha. Okay.
Because, the first qualifier that we'll be going to the Continental Cup in Dominican Republic in the end of August will be a qualifier. So the other countries, Canada, Cuba, Dominican Republic, that zone, Mexico, will be trying to qualify by winning that tournament.
Just a winner qualifies?
Just the winner qualifies.
And there's different, so like a Cuba can go to a different tournament if they don't qualify in this.
Yes, you'll have other opportunities, but It's the first time. And that's, because we're all already qualified now. It's, historically like the Cubas, Canadas, Mexicos that are always kind of in the hunt, but usually we're competing against them for that zone. So now that we're out of the picture and not needing to qualify, they've got a better shot.
Is that the host winning a tournament? Are those the only two ways to qualify for the Olympics?
Yeah, there's winning, world championships. There's winning the regional, and then there's the VNL, and end of the year or into the quad. There's a date that seeding between like the rest of the countries throughout the world.
Gotcha.
And placing how you're seeded could get you a qualification too.
Interesting. Yeah. And so when you're building that team over the course of as a coach, do you go into the quad saying we have 4 years to build this team, or are you building it for each season, or how is it just what's available, who's available, like how does that kind of chemistry component work?
Yeah, I mean, it can vary a little bit because the end all goal is to be really good at the Olympics.
Right.
So what do we need to do to get there? We have a lot of returners that have been through this process a couple times before that have a lot of experience. They've been grinding. We gave some of them time off this last summer.
Gotcha.
They're coming back in the gym kind of ready to go for this coming summer. So they'll be integrating back. You've got a new up and coming crop of athletes who haven't proven themselves on an international stage, but are players of the year, All-Americans coming from their respective universities.
Gotcha.
So it's always that battle of the the young and the old, and mixing them and try to create the best environment for Team USA and the best team, obviously.
Culture.
So the culture part of it, but we want to build as we go through the quad.
Right.
Yeah. And that's tricky, because there's injuries, there's good plays, bad plays, there's good calls, bad calls,
Yeah. How much of what's the chemistry component? Is it the management of, you've coached men and women? what's the biggest difference in coaching the different gender? Like, what is a challenge for the men that's not a challenge for the women, and vice versa?
I mean, at this level, you're dealing with professionals that have, they've dedicated their young lives to this craft. It is about trying to kind of put the best 14 people together that get along and are going to all kind of be on the same train, so to speak, going in the same direction. I think women generally they are more pleasing, and they will agree more at first of what you're trying to convey or coach than a guy who initially there's such an ego thing with men. Sometimes it's their reaction is no or questioning.
Gotcha.
I think women at first they're going to agree, and then they're going to question later after they start to kind of go through it. So I have thoroughly enjoyed the last year being with the women. I mean, they are their work ethic, their professionalism. I think they're just consistently day in and day out better than guys. Guys are, they'll show their emotion more on their, on their sleeve more than women. Which can be
sure
good,
and bad.
But so far, I mean, they've kind of accepted me, and I think they're listening, cool. and so I mean, we'll see if if the newness rubs off this summer and what they say or do, but so far it's been fun.
So when you guys travel, sorry Jeff,
you're good. No.
So many.
No, keep going.
I think it's so cool.
Yeah.
Will your wife tag along on any of these trips?
Yeah, she will. We're playing in Japan this summer, and Japan has an amazing volleyball culture. So her and my daughter are going to come out and kind of check it out.
Yeah.
Tour around Japan too and check out.
And are those short trips? Or are you guys going over there and spending some time?
We'll play 4 matches.
Okay.
We try to get to, especially with a big time zone change, 4 or 5 days there earlier than the first day of competition. So generally, and this tournament's called VNL Volleyball Nations League, we'll be there for about 8 to 9 days.
Okay.
Yeah. So we'll play either 2 matches, day off, play 2 matches, or 3 day off, 1 match.
Gotcha.
Yeah. So she's going to come and her and my daughter and come check it out. So it'll be
a little mix of both. There'll be you'll go to this tournament solo, and then they'll come to Japan.
Yeah. But I mean, I've already prefaced it. Hey, it's work. Like I'm not going to be, touring around, checking things out.
Going on the Segway tour.
We're in season. We're grinding.
Yeah.
So she gets it. Yeah. Super fun.
I was going to say, for anybody that hasn't seen women volleyball, like it is awesome. I was telling you a little bit earlier that my niece is graduating from Cal Poly San Luis Obispo this year, and she was the little one, what do they call them?
Libero,
exactly. And it was the first time I had gone to a game at Cal State Long Beach. I'm like, these girls are badasses. Like they compete at a level that most people probably don't even know.
Yeah. Well, I think, at any sport, you go watch it in person. You're like,
it's fast.
They're bigger, faster, stronger than they look on TV. The ball is moving faster than I saw on TV. The athleticism, the communication that you hear, the yelling and screaming and talking amongst the athletes. I mean, it's one of my highlights of watching sports was like being on the field at UCLA, like right there on the line of scrimmage, and watching the linemen like go to battle and hit each other. And it's like, how does somebody not get hurt every single play? Yeah. How is this possible?
Well, you said Jonathan Ogden earlier. He was one of the best.
He's one of the biggest humans I've ever been around.
He's a huge, huge human.
And he went on to play in the NFL.
He's a Hall of Famer. Yeah. He's one of the best tackles to have ever played.
I played basketball against him. Like I am basketball.
And I'm sure he was really good.
I'm like, oh my gosh, you are huge.
How do you move that fast?
Soft hands.
Dunk and shoot.
I mean, nice little athlete. Yeah, pretty cool.
It's so cool. The environment and watching my niece play volleyball, like even after a mistake or a bad play, like they all come together and fire each other up. And like their energy level was out of this world, outstanding.
Yeah.
I'm like, we need to learn from that in all sports and it was just awesome.
You guys, some of the best teams that I were a part of the team component was super important to the head coach. Is there anything you guys do to try to cultivate that within the team? Like, yeah, we're going to Japan, but is it all business all the time, or are there certain like premeditated ways to get the team to kind of bond and like, hey, this is the kind of I think this is the group. Let's do X, Y, and Z to see if it is.
Yeah, I mean, we hire people to help with building this culture.
Yeah.
But the first part of, I think, any sort of culture is just it's a level of respect and trust, and you have to let them know that their voice is going to be heard and they have a say in this process, because this is a all-in kind of process for 4 years. And so being on the road as much as we do a lot of, team meals and travel, and it's just, there's always music playing. We're trying to make the environment light and just, fun. And they have a say in like when the schedule is, when or how much we practice, how much they need to practice. Like, and that there's a little bit of a difference for me from going from men are much more engaging as far as, hey, I'm done with practice. Women want to keep practicing. They will just grind. Like their work ethic is amazing.
Yeah.
So sometimes they're like, no, you're done. You are done today. Okay. You've had a practice. You've had a bunch of swings. We're load managing, so to speak. You're done. But as far as the culture, I mean, that's putting we've got a leadership group that we talk to a bunch and integrating younger girls into the team. And it's always evolving and moving. And it's something that I'm learning from some really smart sports psychs, kind of helping me through this process. But really, like, it's treating people with respect and making sure that they have a voice and they're heard.
That's awesome.
Well, what'd Sam say that their team did? What did they call them? Walks, or
like they did their coach had they would pair up in groups, different positions, and they would just do a 30-minute walk, like around the facility or around the field. And the coaches would have like a list of questions to kind of break the ice, but it always went off tangent. And he's like, I learned about the rookie D lineman's mom's whatever. Yeah. And all of a sudden you're like, oh, now I know this kid a little bit better. I understand what makes him tick. I understand this receiver better. I know this is the best approach to get what I need out of him. As a player and as a coach, it's the same thing. So you're constantly learning, constantly evolving. And it's just time. And I imagine that the long travel plays a big part into that kind of bonding.
It definitely does. And the fact that we travel 14 or 16 athletes, as opposed to a football team.
Sure. How are you guys traveling? Are you just flying out of LAX, like commercial airline? Or are you just
it's commercial? The athletes fought the USAV organization to make sure that they get like economy plus and premium classes. And so we purchase those, and most of us now have status, so we get upgraded, or we're just purchasing, the upgrade. Cause I mean, they're 14, 16-hour flights. It makes a huge difference to be comfortable, and, they got to perform in 4 or 5 days. I mean, they're taking care of themselves. Yeah.
That's awesome. I mean, there's the national stage is such a cool mentality, because is the national pride something that drives them? Like you talked about your accountability to UCLA. Is there a level of that within the girls that you can?
There is a huge difference from when they take off their university college jersey and they put USA on their back.
That didn't happen in football. I can only imagine that
the level of pride. Yeah.
I mean, and for your school, your college, you're playing for your college, which is amazing. And that's a huge community. Now you're playing for USA. Yeah. And that is, I get emotional, like most warm-ups and going through, opening ceremonies and stuff. Like I get to represent my country. Yeah. It's
so cool.
It's pretty cool.
That's awesome. We're getting close on that. One more question, just because do you have this one is my wrap up one is like, we're in it with the little ones. And like, if you were going to give a piece of advice for doesn't matter the sport, as a parent, trying to get the most out of your kids, not ruin the relationship with your kids, what's the best like piece of advice for the parents with kids growing up and trying to be the best that they can be?
Is to let the kid know that you don't have to play the sports. You don't, it's up to you. If you want to play, I will facilitate and help you in any way possible. I'll make sure that your water bottle is full. I'll make sure you got snacks and you're getting to practice on time. But it's all on you. It's not. And at first I didn't believe that. I actually read this in another book of, and I'm like, oh no, my parents pushed me. My parents did this. And then you start to sit back and you're thinking about it. You're like, no, they just drove me.
Right.
And maybe that was just my experience with my parents I was so fortunate that, the way that they brought me up, but like, just let them know that they don't have to do this, and I'm sure, there's some parents or, even and myself, like, yeah, but if I said that, then they're just like hanging out and they're on their phone, and that phone is such a huge competition now, but as long as I think that they understand that you're in it just for fun for them, like, and to really, I think, focus too. And I wouldn't say I did a great job of this. It's just like focusing on the team aspect of hanging out with your buddies. Because I think every former athlete, like, they don't remember so much the wins and losses. They remember like the car rides and the bus rides and the plane rides, is like shooting the shit with your best friends that you're like going to battle with, that's the fun part. 100%. It's kind of like, so focus, I guess, to answer your question, is like focus not on the actual sport, focus on what's all around it.
Right. That's great advice. That's great advice.
Let me know how it works, because I'm still working on this too.
Well, your kids are grown up, and they're still doing it, but they're still loving it. And I love it. I think it's super fun to watch. I think there's so many lessons in sports that translate into the real world. And that's my goal for the kids, is for those lessons to be learned. I think, unfortunately, a lot of those lessons are being lost because of meddling with the parents, or you're switching teams, or you're doing this, you're doing that. Let them work through it.
I mean, I could go off for a long time about, sitting on the bench and how great, getting pulled out and riding pine, how great that is for all of us. It's such a great life lesson.
Yeah. No, it's why I think we're both ultra passionate about coaching the youth sports. And you don't know, this may be, that 1-2 hour practice, that may be the highlight of that kid's day. You just don't know what they're going through.
Sure.
So to be in a position to impact them and influence them, I mean,
I can't wait to hear that question. You got to ask John Hammer that question.
I will. I have I'm excited for him, because he's had, he started with you.
Yeah.
And he finished last year. Like, he has seen so many good athletes come through that program. He's built the culture over not only 1 season, 2 seasons, 30 years of that program. And San Clemente is a top program, all sports in the state. So he's done a great job. Sure. I would like to hear his thoughts on all those things, just because it is such a competitive environment, and it's hard. Like we said earlier, there, as much as you're willing to do, or your kid is willing to do, or you're willing to pay for, it's available. I think there's value in messing around at T Street and getting barrels with your kids. like that's fun too.
And by the campfire, there is value in that.
Like surfing, surfing helps me. It kept my shoulders, as long as I was surfing, my shoulders don't hurt. If I stop surfing, I feel like I need to have surgery. So I don't know. There's something to it.
Yeah. I mean, that's why we're so fortunate that, like, you can just walk off the field, the court, out of the gym, and just go jump in the water here.
100%.
I mean, that's why we live here. Yeah.
This has been one of my favorite podcasts, honestly, Brandon. Thank you so much.
Thank you guys. Super fun.
Maybe Brian and I can get a tour at UCI when
the Athlete Village is going on.
Yep.
You're gonna have to go through the security check.
The scranny. No, I'm most interested in, again, the ice baths and the red light therapy and the hyperbaric chambers. And do you get to participate, and do you get to take advantage of it?
I probably could. I don't. I don't.
You don't cross that.
No,
yeah. You're like, that's for the athletes. Yep.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. I'll listen in on, new techniques to be healthy or whatever, but I let them do that.
How advanced are we, last question, today, and compared to where we were 20 years ago in that field of the ice baths, the red light, the hyperbaric chambers? Are we in a completely different world today?
I don't think we're in a completely different world. I think the management of the workload on the athletes is night and day difference. You know, in my time, it was you just got to grind and you got to work. There was no stopping. Now it's everything is measured. You know, we use a scientific, you know, catapult system that is measuring the load and how much you're jumping to like get the optimal for this season. So the science and the data behind, you know, how much, at what point is it kind of diminishing returns, and so that is way better than, you know, when I was playing. Yeah, which is cool. So hopefully we're not burning people out, and we're not, you know, they've
Long
got longer
careers,
and yeah, they're healthy and they can pick up their kids in 20 years and you know, that sort of thing.
Very cool. Well,
Yeah.
Brian and I like to keep the podcast at about an hour. It's crazy how fast
Wow,
time flies when you're having fun.
Yeah, congrats on the wall. We'll be paying attention to all
Thank you so
the
much.
national team until it's an Olympic team stuff. Good luck.
Thank you.
Safe
Thank you.
travels.
Thank
And
you.
we'll be paying attention again. Thanks for coming on and hanging out. And
Awesome. Thanks, guys.
Thanks so much.